According to a verified insider, 343 Industries might be looking to drop the Xbox One support for Halo Infinite and possibly delay the game all the way till 2022. There's a lot here to talk about, so let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? It's Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Hope everyone's having a great day. If you guys could do me a huge favor, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and share this video out on social media. I appreciate all the support. Thank you very much, guys. Ever since what some people would call the disappointing gameplay reveal of Halo Infinite at Xbox's July showcase, there have been a group of people calling for 343 to drop the support of the Xbox One version right now and focus their efforts on the Xbox Series X and PC version to make the game look and play like a true next generation game. Halo Infinite became a meme on July 23rd, and soon after, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and Bonnie Ross decided to delay the game to 2021 to fix the apparent issues the game was having. And for those of you that wanted 343 to drop support of the Xbox One version, you may get your wish. As a verified insider over at Reset Era talked a little bit about the discussions going on at 343 and Microsoft regarding Halo Infinite, and he had this to say, quote, "I was considering a lot to post it or not, but after a few consultations with a few different sources, I'll put it out. Microsoft 343i is currently very busy with the idea of dropping Xbox One support for Halo Infinite. Even the idea to postpone it to early 2022 is on the table. It's pretty messy up there with decisions, but they are convinced that they need to make the best Halo game ever." Now that is a lot to take in. Delaying Halo Infinite all the way to 2022 sure is something else, considering the game was supposed to be launching with the Series X in less than 3 months. And Microsoft and 343 seriously considering dropping Xbox One support is pretty interesting, considering Halo Infinite has the free-to-play multiplayer. The insider goes on to say that the current version of Halo Infinite on Xbox One S is nowhere near 1080p. It's even lower than 900p and is having serious asset loading issues, much worse than you have seen on PC demo. Idea is to change it at the engine level, how assets load, make ray tracing as default, improve, unlock some assets, improve geometry, post-processing, and add more CPU-bound interactivity. Now, I don't know anything about them delaying the game to 2022 or dropping Xbox One support, but I have heard that the Xbox One version of Halo Infinite does not run well whatsoever, and I would say the resolution it currently runs at is way lower than 900p, think around 720p, and it may not even be running at 60 frames right now. But it's an early version, the game wasn't supposed to be coming out for a couple months, optimizations always come towards the end, and now the game's not even launching until 2021, and if you believe this insider, there's a possibility it may not even come till 2022, and only be on Series X and PC. So all this begs a really simple question: do I want 343 and Microsoft to drop support of the Xbox One version of Halo so we can get a next-gen and PC-only version of Halo Infinite that actually looks great and takes full advantage of the Series X? Well, you're goddamn right I do. Every single time I've talked about cross-gen on this channel, I've always said I'm a very selfish individual. I'm getting Series X day one, and I don't really care about all the people left behind on the Xbox One. So yeah, I've always thought about the idea of what it would be like if Halo Infinite was made for the Series X and PC instead of around the Xbox One. I've said that consistently in every single video I've made about this subject. So yes, I would love it if Microsoft dropped the last-gen version of Halo Infinite, but I don't really know if that's feasible for what the game is trying to achieve at this point. I think it's clear to every single person with eyeballs who watched the July game showcase and saw Halo Infinite and Craig in all his glory, they could tell that Halo Infinite wasn't a finished product, and Phil, Matt, and Bonnie pretty much agreed with everybody else and decided to delay the game to 2021 to give it more time to look and run better. And that's one of the things people are really focusing on social media right now, is that Halo Infinite, the version that we saw at the game showcase, did not look next-gen, did not look next level. It looked like an Xbox One game at its core, and I think that is what people have a deep-seated issue with. And the funny thing is, I know 343 can make an amazing-looking Halo game. Remember Halo 4 on the Xbox 360 that came out in 2012? One of the best-looking 360 games ever. And Halo 5 Guardians isn't a slouch either, so I know 343 can make a damn good looking Halo game, and maybe it has to do with 343 biting off more than they can chew. Halo 4 was only made for the 360. Halo 5 was only targeting the Xbox One. And with Halo Infinite, not only do you have PC added into the mix, but you have the Xbox Series X, presumably the Xbox Series S, you have Xbox One X, you have Xbox One S, and you have the OG Xbox One. Maybe 343 just wasn't really equipped to make a cross-gen Halo game. So yes, while I would love Halo Infinite to only be released on Series X and PC, I really doubt that's going to be a case for a few different reasons. The first being that the game is supposed to be a platform and that the multiplayer is free to play, and that is one of the core reasons why the game is on Xbox One. The reason Halo's multiplayer is free to play is because they want everybody to play that, and dropping support for the Xbox One version would be completely counter to what the stated goal of Halo Infinite is. If you drop support of the Xbox One version outside of the PC, you lose a huge chunk of the audience that would play Halo. So that is one reason. Another reason is Xbox Game Pass. We've talked on this channel about how Xbox Game Pass is the platform for Xbox moving forward, how it is incredibly important. And if you drop support of the Xbox One version, you essentially are also giving people less of a reason to subscribe to Game Pass to play the campaign of Halo Infinite for the millions upon millions of people who own the Xbox One. So Microsoft would be taking that business decision into account and probably doesn't want to do that. Another big reason a lot of people don't think about when talking about Halo Infinite and if Xbox One support would get dropped is Project xCloud. Microsoft announced that Halo Infinite would be a part of Project xCloud day one, obviously before it was delayed to 2021. But if Microsoft completely drops Xbox One support for Halo Infinite, that means there won't be an xCloud version of Halo, because currently all the server blades in Project xCloud are Xbox One S server blades. So if they drop support for Xbox One, that would mean there would be no version of Halo Infinite to stream on Project xCloud. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, they'll just have the next-gen version streaming on Project xCloud, which is going to be true, yes, in the future. But according to what I've been told, those next-gen server blades really won't be ready until sometime in 2022. And then, of course, there is the PR promise that Phil Spencer and Xbox made about how Xbox wasn't going to leave anybody behind, and how they weren't going to force anybody into next-gen, and how their first-party titles would be cross-gen for the next couple years until the end of 2021. Well, if you release Halo Infinite in 2021 and it's Series X and PC only, you essentially break that PR promise. And does Xbox and Phil Spencer want to go back on that promise? I'm not sure they really want to. And I'm not really sure if dropping Xbox One support for Halo Infinite right now would make Halo Infinite any better for Series X. The game has been in development for 5 years, which means around 2015, early 2016. That was before Xbox One X was even a thing, and that was way before anybody had talked about Series X. This game was built around the Xbox One and its limitations, and if you remove that now, sure, it might look a little bit better on the Xbox Series X when they re-debut it sometime next year, but all the level design, all the game design has been built around the Xbox One, and it's way too late to change any of that. But then again, if you do drop support for the Xbox One, maybe 343 can actually launch the game sooner rather than later. If you drop that console from its production line, then you have more people to throw at the Series X and PC version, and maybe you're able to release the game sooner rather than later. Maybe 343 takes a cue from Treyarch and Activision's playbook regarding Black Ops 3, where if you recall, on the 360, that game launched as multiplayer only, while the Xbox One and PS4 versions had the full campaign with multiplayer. Is that something 343 could do? Launch Halo Infinite on the Xbox One with only multiplayer and Forge, but then release the entire full package, including campaign, on Series X and PC? I don't know, maybe that's something to think about there. I think some of what you're seeing right now with regards of people saying drop the Xbox One version of Halo Infinite is that people want to be impressed by Halo Infinite, and more importantly, they want to be wowed by what Series X can do. And Microsoft has not done a very good job of showcasing why you need to drop the money to get the next-gen console. And they're hoping that if 343 drops the Xbox One support for the game, then suddenly the game is going to look magnitudes way better, and they'll be more comfortable with themselves dropping the $500 or $600 on that next-gen machine. So while I would personally love to see Halo Infinite as a next-gen only title because, well, I'm very selfish, I think 343 has a lot of different reasons to keep the Xbox One version in play. I don't know what the future is going to hold. Maybe they drop support, maybe the game gets delayed to 2022, but if I had to bet money right now, I think the game launches on all the platforms it was supposed to. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, share this out on social media, or tell a friend about the channel. Hit that notification bell if you always want to be notified right away whenever I drop any new video. If you want to support the channel even further, you can hit the join button, where you'll get access to channel badges and custom emotes for the Xbox 2 podcast. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch all my videos. It truly means so much to me, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Thank you, guys.